Hey, it's Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek, with your favorite niche real estate website, www.thelandgeek.com. And I'm really excited for today's guest because I think Scott and I have the best passive income model, but I think our guest might be just nipping at our heels. But before I introduce our guests, I'd be remiss if I didn't properly introduce my co-host, Six Sigma Scott Todd from scotttodd.net, landmodo.com, and most importantly, if you're not automating your Craigslist and Facebook postings, postingdomination.com/the Land Geek. Scott Todd, how are you?
Mark, I'm so excited because not only is it you on this podcast with me, but our guest today, he was actually on your podcast like way back in the day when I first got into the land investing business. And I was jealous of him. Do you know why?
He's good looking.
Well, that too. Yeah. But I was really jealous of him because I had just moved to Fort Myers and he lived in my hometown, basically in the Tampa area. And I'm like, you know what? When I grow up, I want to be like him and back in Tampa. And so, you know, like he's kind of like a little bit of a motivation for me. Like I can be like him one day.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think everybody wants to be like Kevin Bupp from mobilehomeparkacademy.com. His podcast is huge. But if you don't know Kevin, and he was on the Best Passive Income Model podcast as well, Kevin has a interesting story. He is the owner of the Mobile Home Park Academy, which is the premier real estate education company in the country, and one of only a select few that teach on the highly lucrative topic of mobile home park investing. Founded by a team of nationally recognized mobile home park investors, he's developed the systems, the tools, the educational platform, and coaching program to accelerate your path to success as a mobile home park investor. All right, well, Kevin, let's just get into it because
let's do it.
You know, the real question is, I mean, you're a Florida-based real estate investor, you're still an entrepreneur. You've got over 40 million of real estate transactions, right? Mm-hmm. Why teach anybody this stuff, Kevin? Like I'm skeptical. If it's so great, why teach anybody?
Yeah, fair enough. You know, there's those that have this scarcity mentality, and there's those that have the mentality of abundance, that there's power in numbers, and by helping enough others, you know, help them reach their own successes, that more success will come our way. I mean, that's how I think. And I've always had mentors that have helped me get into the different businesses that I've been in, and I've never seen a scarce mentality come their way, you know, come from them. And I've seen that they still thrive and they still, you know, buy a ton of properties, and they help me along the way. And so I've just always been raised that way. I mean, I was introduced to the business in that manner, and it's my philosophy. I like helping others, and I think that there's power in numbers as well. You know, I think that there's a collective dynamic that occurs when you teach others to do a particular business right, and it's the business that you're in. I think that there's just a synergy that occurs that I can't really explain. We do more deals because we teach our methods. Simplest way to put it, Mark.
Yeah, Scott and I are both shaking our heads because we get the same kind of scarcity mentality and the same skepticism, and we answer it in almost the identical way.
Yeah. And I like meeting people. I like meeting people that share the same passion anyway. So it's kind of cool to find others that have an interest in what I'm doing, and to see them light up when they learn about this niche, or to, you know, experience that life-changing moment when they buy that first mobile home park and they've literally replaced their entire full-time income. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's rewarding to me as well. So lots of reasons why.
Yeah, but Scott, when you hear about mobile home park investing, what's your first reaction to it?
My first reaction is tenants, right? You know, like it's my first reaction. And then I have flashbacks to the days where, Kevin, I started off real estate investing doing Lonnie deals. Okay.
Oh,
so I was out there like collecting the rent, thinking I'm going to get killed over rent collection. And that's not any fun. Right. So in a way, that's kind of like what I like about land, is that there's no tenants. Nothing there. And what I do like about mobile home parks, though, is the fact that it's dirt at the end of the day. And that's kind of like what Kevin teaches,
that's right.
Getting back to just getting to the dirt.
Yeah. So we still have tenants, right? I mean, and don't get me wrong, I don't want everyone to think that mobile home parks are just renting the dirt. And that is, in the perfect world, that's how these things were originally intended to be. but we do own a lot of rental units, not by choice, in a lot of the communities that we currently have under ownership. But we always try to sell those homes off. And but the interesting thing is that we have tenants, but they own their home, and it's very expensive to move that home. And so our collection rates are 99+% each and every month, because they run the risk of losing the most valuable asset that they probably own, which is their trailer. And our turnover rates it's very minimal. And so it's not, and we don't have to deal with the roof issues and the plumbing and the AC going bad. We don't have to deal with that because they own it. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but you know what I think of when I think about a mobile home park?
What's that?
Crime.
Ooh,
drugs.
Yeah, it's possible.
So why a mobile home park, not some other kind of multi-tenant class of real estate?
Yeah.
Why not an apartment building?
Yeah, we have to understand there's actually different classes of mobile home parks as well. I mean, like in apartment buildings, there's A class, which is the premier, and then there's D class, which is like pack heat if you want to go collect rent or do anything after dark, right? And there's everything in between. Same thing with mobile home parks. It's actually more of it's a 5-star system. It's not an A to D grade. It's a 5-star, with 1-star being the equivalent of like a D grade apartment building, and a 5-star being like shuffleboard, 3 swimming pools, full-time, program director, like really, really nice place. And so most of our parks fall in the 2.5 to 3-star category. And so we're catering to, good, hardworking folks that just are looking for a clean, safe, and quiet place to raise their family. And so not saying that some of the parks that we've purchased haven't had a crime element, but for the most part, we're very particular about the markets we buy in, and we're also very particular about school districts and such. And so we buy in markets that we know that if there is a bad element there, we know that there's plenty of good people just lining up waiting to get into a good place. And so we know that we can easily kick the bad element out and replace it with good. And so when you think about, like, the first thing that came to your mind, Mark, was crime. That does exist, but the same thing could be said about any apartment complex. I mean, if it's not run properly, any single family home rental, if it's not run properly, not vacant land, but just about any other type of income producing property could be classified as, crimes, drugs, sex, rock and roll, everything else that comes along with it. But we pride ourselves in providing a very, very clean, safe, and quiet environment for families, looking for an affordable place to live and raise their family. So we typically don't have to deal with that.
So if Scott and I want to invest in a mobile home park, what is the very first step we should take?
Just like anything, get educated. I mean, there's not a lot of sources of education. I'm not saying that because we offer education, but I mean, you really do. You have to get educated on the topic. There's a lot of gotchas in the mobile home park space that don't necessarily exist buying an apartment or buying a shopping center or buying, obviously, vacant land that you guys do. The infrastructure is a big thing in mobile home parks. And it's one of those things that if you don't understand what you're buying, you could literally be buying a dud that could sink your ship pretty quickly. There are lots of parks out there that have private utility structures, meaning like they have wells and septics and wastewater treatment plants on site. And so you got to know what you're looking for. So get educated, make sure that you don't buy what looks as face value as a good deal, as a good opportunity, and you find out that it's a complete dud, it's a lemon, and it's going to cost you your entire investment. Because I see it happen all the time. This is actually one niche where it's pretty easy to make a big mistake on buying the wrong park.
Ouch. So okay, so let's say that you've got the right park. How do you even get the deal flow to even evaluate the parks?
Yeah, there's numerous ways. I mean, there's LoopNet, which is the largest commercial listing site. I kind of call it like the broker's trash can, because most stuff that makes it there has already been shopped a million times. But we actually have 2 deals on our board right now that are in contract that I found on LoopNet. It's the first 2 deals I found like 3 years of searching LoopNet, but you still can find deals on LoopNet, just few and far between. So that's one way. There's another website called the mobilehomeparkstore.com. It's basically the MLS for mobile home parks. That's all they sell on there. Again, some opportunities here and there. The guys, I know the guys that own the website, they have a big investment business themselves, and they tend to cherry pick things before they make it to the market. So a lot of the deals that make it up there have been picked over. Again, not that you can't comb through and find an opportunity, but so for us, if you're not going to buy from one of those websites and you're not going to utilize a broker, we go off market. Like we find things by going off market. Like our systems of finding off market deals and strategically honing our focus in on certain markets and certain parks based on the length of ownership, based on who owns them, how old they are, how they've been running the park. Like that's what we do. We go off market. And so there's a lot of opportunity to buy from original owners. Still, there's a lot of mom and pops out there that own these things, that built these parks 40 years ago, and they're up there in age now. And so that is the best way, Mark. Like all the deals on our board, only 2 are all market deals. All the rest are off market. The parks that we own today, 90% of those are off market. Like they weren't listed. They weren't through a broker. We went direct to owner. That is the best way, hands down, to get, just what I consider the home runs.
So Kevin, let's say Scott and I go to a RIA meeting, and we always joke about this. If there's 100 people in the RIA meeting, 99 of them are house flippers or wholesalers, right? Scott and I would be the only land guys.
You're the crazy guys in the group.
We're the crazy
right?
guys. Now, is it Scott and I the land guy? You're the only mobile home park guy. How competitive is this, and how big is the market?
Yeah, if I went to a local RIA group, I would be probably the only mobile home park guy. There might be other guys that are like Lonnie dealers, like Scott had mentioned, that own a few mobile homes in various parks, but not really mobile home parks. And so, I don't really know how to gauge like the competitiveness. I can tell you that it's much more mainstream now, this business or this industry, as it was when I got into it just 5 or 6 years ago. And I think that's because there's people like me out there talking about it. There's a couple other educators in the space that talk about it in a big way. But prior to them, I don't think many people really spoke about it. Like the operators that were in the business, maybe they thought it was like a good thing, and they were close to the vest with it. And they just kind of stayed under the radar. And so it's competitive, but there's still a lot of opportunity. I can tell you that we do a lot of direct mailers, and we do cold calling on a regular basis. And we've got a database of about 3,500 parks that we've researched the markets. We know the parks. We know that more than likely if we got them at the right price, we would buy them. And we hit that list over and over and over again. And every time we hit it, we get different calls. We get different responses. And I can tell you that our students are hitting the same list, and they're getting responses because they got the timing right. It's really the timing. They got their letter, their message in front of the people when they either need it or wanted to sell. And so I guess to answer your question, Mark, there's competition, but there's not too much competition to not consider getting into this niche. There's just not. And I'm proof of it. We're like small fish in a big pond still. Like we own a fairly large number of parks, but we're still like very minuscule in the grand, scheme of things. And we're still finding opportunities left and right. So
Scott Todd, thoughts? Oh, your audio's off, Scott.
Oh, sorry. There it goes. Kevin, I like what you said about mailing to the list over and over and over and over again. I think that blows a lot of people away that, wait a minute, you can mail to the list, and your students can mail to the list, and we can all mail to the list, and we can all still pull deals out of there. That really is the abundance mentality right there at its core, because that's exactly what we do. We mail to the list, and we mail to the list, and we mail to them again and again and again. And it's all about the timing.
Yeah, it's all the timing. There's a motivation in everyone's life, right? Everyone hits a point in their life where they're motivated by something. Either their wife wants them to sell that property that's been draining their bank account, or their health, kicks in and something's going wrong, or they're getting divorced and they're forced to sell. Whatever happens, but there's either a time where everyone either needs or wants to sell. It's not necessarily a big motivation where they have to sell, but they're just like, I'm getting kind of tired, and I'm at the age now. I've received these 80 letters from Kevin over the past 5 years. On the 81st. I woke up this morning, my back hurt a little bit more than normal. I'm going to call him today. That's what happens.
Yeah. It's marketing. It's top of mind awareness. When they're ready, Kevin Bupp will be there, and it's, but that's where the consistency comes in. Is you show up. Yes. And they know,
yes.
Okay. When I'm ready, Kevin's there for me.
And you might get lucky the first go. Like, I think the challenge that happens is some people, like, they send a mailer out, and they get lucky in the first mailer, and they'll pull a deal or two. They'll be like, wow, this really works. But then they'll send a second mailer, and they won't get anything, and they'll stop. They're like, well, this doesn't work anymore. I must have exhausted that list. Whereas they should just stay consistent with it over and over again, and just keep working it. So
yeah, I love Scott Todd's comment. Like, how often do you go to the mailbox and get a credit card, offer solicitation in the mail, offer letter in the mail, like every day, right? I don't see the banks going under. Right? Like, they'll get you one day on the right day.
They keep mailing, man. And like, for me, it goes in the garbage can until like, holy cow, 0%. Maybe I want to buy something I can pay off in 12 months, right? Like that's the mentality.
That's it.
But they don't stop mailing, man. I can't, even if I say don't mail me anymore, they still mail.
Yeah. I mean, another example is like the tire companies, like they send out the pamphlets that all the other junk mail stuffed inside. It's always got the tire coupons. I mean, we only need tires in our cars once every 4 years, right? If you're like an average driver, but they're sending that stuff out like once a month. I mean, if not more than that. But you know what? They get the timing right. The profit margins are probably really high in tires, and they win. They win even if they mail it 100 times to us. They win when they come in to buy tires on that 101st time that I got that junk mail and I use that coupon. So, yeah, no, it's there's a lot of opportunity out there. It's interesting as well. I mentioned another thing about finding opportunities is that what I have found is that every owner or every prospect responds to different media, whereas we've had instances where we've cold called people and they've hung up on us like mad, angry, don't call me. And then like a month later, we'll send them a mailer, not really giving them a connection between the two. And they'll call us from the mailer and be very polite and, respond to our mailer and vice versa. That happens. And so I think you really need to be, at least in our business, you need to be hitting them both ways. You need to be cold calling, you need to be mailing. And I can tell you that I'm a guy that I don't like being cold called. I screen my calls because I don't like being caught off guard, and I'm busy enough and I don't need like to be stuck in a conversation I wasn't expecting. I would rather control the moment and get a piece of mail and call at my leisure. Whereas like my grandfather, he's a grumpy old man that thinks that all the mail in his mailbox that, isn't a personalized letter is junk mail. He gets really mad about it. He'd rather get a phone call. So you got to reach everyone in their own way and find out what works and just do both and overlap them. And I promise you that there is plenty of opportunity. And it only takes one deal in this business too. That's the thing. Most people, the average person, they're not looking to build a large portfolio. One really good deal, and they don't have to be a huge deal either. They can be life-changing, like replacement plus then some of like normal income, like yearly income. So anyway, I'm digressing here, but you guys get my point. There's opportunity. To answer Mark's original question, there's still opportunity out there for people.
There's opportunity. So tell us something we don't know about mobile home park investing, because you've got so many podcasts. There's so much information that you're giving. I mean, I'm looking at just the last 3 podcasts are it's like a comfortable blanket, the dangers of paying face value for rent to own contracts. That's solved. How to avoid the mistake of buying a park without having the proper amount of operational capital left over to start running your new business. That's solved. How to identify unstable income sources on a profit and loss statement and avoid overpaying for a mobile home park. Those 3 podcasts, it's like swaddling me. So what do we not know about mobile home park investing?
I mean, well, there's theory and then there's real life experience, right? I mean, so I think that, I mean, I could preach every day, 24/7, and I could tell everyone everything they need to know. But until they get boots on the ground and actually dive in feet first, every day is different in this business. I mean, I could preach from a book, but they're going to run into situations I might not have covered. So, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mentioned that there's not understanding the infrastructure of a park and understanding what you have there in terms of like the utilities are concerned, like the water and the sewer, could sink someone if they didn't know what to look for. And I'm going to give you a great example. It's a park that we own in Pennsylvania. It's a smaller park, 41 spaces, but great deal. I mean, it was brought to us by actually someone that is now our student, but they were always bringing us deals, a couple of years back. And
when you say great deal, can you define that real quickly for us?
Yeah, I guess that's a good definition. I mean, so it's a great deal based on how we bought it and understanding what the upside was. And so to others, it might not have been a great deal, but to us, we could see the future value and we could see the risk as well as the rewards associated with that. And so for us, it was a great deal. We were getting into it for very little money down. We paid $200,000 for it, which is unheard of. 41 space park, great market. Put 10% down, and then put another $30,000 in reserves for capital improvement. So we had $50,000 wrapped up into this thing. But here's the catch on this one. It was on county water. So the water is provided by the county, but the sewer system was a master septic in the back of the park. So it was on a hill and all the homes basically had a sewer line that flowed down into a master septic field. We did all of our phase 1 inspections, had a septic company come do an evaluation. We are always concerned about private utilities. If there's not a backup plan, meaning like if we can't put another septic in, if we can't tie into the county sewer system, if there's not a backup plan and that thing fails, the whole park fails. It gets shut down. And so we were worried about that. That was our big worry. And we did everything we could to address the concerns and the worries. And we talked to the county, how much it would cost to connect in, got with engineers, knew our backup plan. Like the worst case scenario happened, that things fails. We know what our backup plans. We know how much it's going to cost us to do it. Now, I will tell you that we were like, okay, worst case scenario, if it fails in 5 years, probably last 10, but if it happens in 5, we know what to do. We just hopefully won't have to worry about it for 5. 6 months in, it's failing. and we're talking a $300,000 price tag and about a year worth of engineering and approvals and permitting and all this crap that goes along with it. But we knew what the potential hazards of that deal were going into it. And so we planned for it. We knew how to get financing on this infrastructure improvement. We knew the engineers that we needed to work with. We knew what steps we needed to take. That same deal, if someone wouldn't have planned for the worst, because everything looked good on the front end. Septic inspection came back fine. Like everything was working as it should, but there was an issue that was underlying that no one noticed. And that deal right there could have easily sunk in a first-time investor if they wouldn't have really looked a little bit further ahead. Like, what is the backup? What's the worst case scenario? And how am I going to fix it if it occurs, if and when it occurs? So the EPA got involved in that deal. So it wasn't just losing 50 grand that we put into it. The EPA got involved. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, we've got a land use attorney, environmental attorneys. I mean, so we got money wrapped up into this thing. It's fine because we planned for it, but that right there, that could literally just put someone out of business very quickly and probably bankrupt them personally even. So knowing the infrastructure is just a big one. That until you dive into this business, theory doesn't matter. You got to dive in and actually get your feet dirty a little bit.
Yeah. See, Scott, this is why I think he's got the second best passive.
But with that deal, as soon as we connect the city water and we got some empty space and we'll fill in there. I mean, that deal all day, every day. And in the next year, once we get it stabilized, and it's paying for itself now. The cash flow that's in there now is paying to maintain like these expenses we've been incurring with. So we're not making money right now at all, but it's not coming out. We're not making capital calls. That deal, once it's stabilized, will be worth probably close to $1 million. I mean, so we'll have, conservatively speaking, like probably 900. And so we were tied in, we have 500 grand into it, and we'll have, good $400,000 of equity in there. And it's a significant amount of cash flow. The cash on cash return will be, close to 100%, probably exceed 100%.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So if I'm an investor, that's a nice return. So how much of your time is spent looking for money and how much of your time is spent looking for deals?
Yeah. Well, we just launched a $10 million investment fund. Just literally about 3 weeks ago. So we've got 6 parks in contract right now, and we've got a bunch more kind of teeing up. And so we're in a unique space right now that we've never done before. I've never done a fund. And so we're raising, right now we're raising about $3 million to close the initial deals that we have in contract. And so we're in money raising mode right now. So we're spending a lot of time doing that. I'm not involved in that too much. I'm more on the deal acquisition side. And so I've got a couple other partners. That's like my role in the company is, knocking down doors and, building relationships with these owners and bringing the deals through the door and basically taking them to the finish line, getting them closed, and then passing them off to the rest of the team. So I'm spending almost all my time finding deals. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at. We've all kind of determined what we're good at, and I'm good at finding deals.
Yeah, you know what I love about this model, Kevin, is that I think what we have is the gateway drug to getting into larger deals like mobile home park, because at the end of the day, if it's done right, you are just renting the dirt, right? Mm-hmm. So, but the nice thing about it is, and we talk about this all the time, is that if you gave me $100 million tomorrow, right, I'd have a hell of a time deploying that much money into raw land. But if you give me $100 million tomorrow to invest in mobile home parks, I might be able to deploy that in a year or two, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a lot of parks, but yeah, absolutely. It'd be a lot easier than doing it into, deploying it into raw land. You make a good point.
Right. Scott Todd, what are you thinking, man? Your head looks like it's about to spin. Wait, you're still on mute.
I keep hitting the button. Sorry. There's so much, there's so much opportunity around, not depending on whichever animal you like, multifamily land, there's just so much opportunity. And, it really goes to risk tolerance. Are you one that's able to sustain the stress, if you will, of preparing ahead for the infrastructure issues? And if so, man, you can you can learn those skills. I know you can. But like Mark, like you said, land is a great gateway drug.
Yeah. I'm pretty risk adverse. I'm very conservative as well. And, I think as long as you know what the risks are going into the opportunity, like, I mean, that's what we keep talking about here is like understanding like what potential risk you might be stepping into. I don't know. I don't, there's not many of our deals. Like the deal I just gave you the information on that one in Pennsylvania, that's a little bit of stress for us, but we kind of knew it was going to happen. We just didn't think it was going to happen as soon as it did. But I'm okay with the risk because the reward is well worth it on the back end. And maybe it's because I got my feet wet. Like I've been doing this, I guess, full-time investor since I was 20 years old. I'm 38. And most of the stuff I've bought over the years, whether it be single family or apartment buildings, have always been lower end type clientele. And so I've always catered to the affordable housing side of things. And I'm just comfortable with the tenant base. I'm comfortable with the turnaround project. I've rehabbed hundreds of properties. And so I guess if you're like, that's the kind of deals we do. We do a lot of turnaround projects. And so for me, actually, I don't really see them as risky. I actually see it as like a huge reward waiting on the back end. Whereas others might, if they don't know that business well, they don't understand where the reward's out on the back, and they might see it as a big risk play and not worth their time or energy.
Yeah, so, Kevin, what do my mentors like to say? Sow the classes, live with the masses.
There you go. I love that.
Sow the masses, live with the classes.
Yep. Yeah. No, I love that. And so I don't know if that answered your question or not, Scott, but
good. All good.
Yeah.
All good.
All right. So we're at that point now in the podcast, Kevin, my favorite point, where we get to put you on the spot.
All right.
And ask you for your tip of the week, a website, a resource, a book, something actionable where the Art of Passive Income listeners can go right now, improve their businesses, improve their lives. Your mentorship has been invaluable this podcast. I mean, if you're not listening to Kevin's podcast, I don't know. You got to download that thing.
I listen to
so much
it.
value.
I do.
Yeah.
I listen to both of them actually.
Which one do you like more, Scott?
I like the mobile home one better.
All right. Yeah, that one. I mean, you only listen to that podcast if you have even a little. I mean, you have to have a little bit of an interest in mobile home parks, I think, to listen to that show. That's all we talk about.
Right.
No. So, tip of the week. So, is it tip of the week the website, or a tip of the week and a website to go to? Is that
Kevin,
what you're saying?
You're the guest. You can give whatever tip you want.
Yeah. We just started doing it, and this is going to apply to those that have an interest, like whether they're going to buy raw land or they're going to buy mobile home parks or buy other types of real estate. I'm going to just make the assumption that a portion of the audience that you have, Mark, is they're in a point where they're going to be buying real estate. Maybe they have to raise some private money, right? So they have to get their name out there and they have to position themselves as experts. Facebook Live, utilizing a service like we're talking on right now, Zoom.us. I just started using Zoom, Mark, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And I think Facebook Live. And so I guess it's 2 tips of the week, but we're doing a lot of Facebook Live stuff now through our Mobile Home Park Academy. And I'm watching our numbers grow steadily. And our responses, I'm getting a lot of interest from investors that are watching our videos. And I think that there's a difference. There's a situation that occurs through a visual contact with somebody than an audible contact. Like our podcasts are audible, and we do have a big following, and people can kind of get to know us through our voice. But when there's a voice and an image, like a digital image, like a video of somebody, I think the connection is much greater. And so anyway, that would be my tip of the week as far as technology would be concerned, would be Zoom, because it's awesome. And then that ties directly into Facebook Live. Be doing Facebook Live videos. If you want to be in this business, you want to raise capital, you want to put yourself out there as the industry expert, do Facebook Live videos. And Mark, I think you guys probably do videos on other, I don't know, what are some of the other video?
I like BeLive.tv. I also use Ecamm as well.
Well, not the actual tools, not the tools, but the, what's Twitter's, their video?
Periscope.
Like, are there any other ones that are bigger than Facebook Live? I think Facebook Live is like the place now, right?
You got to be at Facebook Live. I mean, you could go YouTube Live, you could go Periscope. But if you're not, a madman like Grant Cardone, just go to Facebook Live.
Yeah. Well, with
Scott,
Zoom, you can record the videos. You can do the Facebook Live, record the videos, and then upload them to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, with the Zoom piece, you can actually do Facebook Live and I think YouTube Live at the same time.
Not that I know.
No?
No, I don't think you can do it simultaneously. Maybe
You
they've
can
changed
do
it.
it
I just signed up.
simultaneously with OBS.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, OBS.
So
And I think Wirecast will let you do it too.
Yeah, I think that we're still like in the very beginning stages of like video marketing, and I think that it's it's going to catapult here in the next year or two, and it already has. I mean, you look at Facebook streams now, like half of them are videos, instead of like still photos, and so I think that's just a great way for those that are looking to get into this business, your business, Mark, my business, any real estate business, where they need to actually put themselves out there as an expert, potentially bring capital in, because for us that's a big thing. Like, we build a lot of relationships with our podcast and with our academy, and a lot of the capital sources that we have come from that. And I think that you're trying to build a friendship by putting yourself out there. And I think when people can see you and they can hear you, put a face to a voice, I think the connection just goes so much farther. So anyway, that's my tip of the week. I don't know if that's a good word or not, but
I think it's
I'm
great.
gonna stick to it.
I love it. I think it's great. Scott Todd.
All right, Mark. I like swim lanes. I like flowcharts, diagrams, all that stuff. Check out draw.io. Draw.io.
I'm checking it out right now.
And what you'll find is that it's a cool free tool that you can build your process maps, your swim lanes, your diagrams, your flowcharts, everything and anything and everything. It was actually given to me by one of our coaching students. And I love it.
Whoa, this is cool.
Yeah.
To check that out. Draw.io.
Look at this. They got basic business charts, engineering, flow charts, mind maps, mock-ups, software design. So when you do it, Scott, which one are you using?
So if you go down to, if you go down to advanced, the swim lanes are in the advanced section.
Wait, I don't see advanced.
On the left side.
I see basic, business, charts, engineering. Let me create a new diagram. See, I'm okay. Hold on. I'll hit create. It says authorize the Dropbox. Allow. API authorization requests. Okay, now I'm in.
Okay, so now you have a blank screen, I guess.
Now I have, it says access denied. Try again. What?
Mark, I think I'm burning calories watching you walk as you speak.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Okay. So anyways, it says
the swim lanes are in advanced.
From template URL or create?
Create.
Okay. See, it's not letting me do it, but I trust you. I believe you.
It's there. It's there. I promise you. I love it.
Okay. And it just says swim lanes.
Yep.
Okay.
I've got one other one I'm going to mention real quick, and it's we're in the process in our business where we're trying to develop, like, we have a lot of systems and processes internally, but we're trying to like organize them into like a standard operating procedure manual. And I found a website called Sweet Process, and it's sweetprocess.com.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Cool. It's awesome.
You should, we also like process.st, Process Street.
Process Street, which is less money, by the way.
Free, I think, right?
It's free. Yeah. See, Kevin's like me. He loves to overpay for everything.
Yeah. Look, if it works for you, then
I'm not too far into it yet. We just started like a week ago. So
when you have Kevin's net worth, it doesn't matter. You just you just get it done.
Yeah, I wish, Mark. I'm still trying to catch up to you guys. You guys have me 5,000 land transactions. Come on, you're way ahead of me.
No, Kevin, we don't like to brag. All right, I'm still playing with this guy. Okay, I'm in advanced.
Okay,
and I just see a bunch of symbols.
Right,
what did I do wrong?
Second row from the bottom in advanced.
I see it.
It's the swim lanes. You drag it over there, and you can add more lanes.
The pool.
Yeah.
Got it.
You add the pool. That brings in 3 lanes. Then you go down, you can add more lanes.
I got 4 lanes.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 lanes. How many lanes do you do?
No more. I try to keep it on one page because then you can always add more pages. So I try to keep it like, I think here you can go up to 6 lanes on one page.
This is really geeky, and I love that I can just automatically save it to Dropbox.
Yeah.
Really cool. All right, great tip. And Sweet Process is a great tip as well. So my tip of the week is going to make everyone a lot more money because it's mobilehomeparkacademy.com. Mobilehomeparkacademy.com. and learn more about Kevin, his team, what he's doing. He's got a weekly podcast, and then the 21 biggest mistakes. So, go there. Purchasing a park that has a large number of homes owned by an outside third-party investor, and why this can be a huge risk. I mean, I'm getting an anxiety attack here, Kevin.
I would say if anyone wants to learn about mobile home park investing, I would say the first place to start is our podcast, because like in the first 12 shows, we really dive into a very granular nature of like how we do market analysis, how we build our database, our direct mail processes, our cold calling process. I mean, everything down to like the operational side, hiring and firing a new manager, training them. I mean, like very in-depth type stuff. Not that all the other shows aren't in depth as well, but like the first 12 are like kind of like the core modules of that podcast. And then we just build on it from there. But there's a lot of information in there. Lots of information.
All right. Great. Well, I do want to just remind the listeners today's podcast is sponsored by postingdomination.com/The Land Geek. And even Kevin Bupp is using it. Right, Kevin?
I am. I bought it about a week ago. So I'm excited to scale up our Craigslist business as far as selling off we want to own the land, right? And so we buy parks that have rental trailers in them and we don't want them. So we want to sell them off. And so we're going to use Posting Domination to blast the heck out of Craigslist with all of our trailers that are for sale.
I love it. Postingdomination.com/The Land Geek. I want to thank all the listeners. I want to remind them the only way we're going to get the quality of guests like a Kevin Bupp from mobilehomeparkacademy.com to come on this podcast is if you do us 3 little favors. You got to subscribe, you got to rate, you got to review the podcast, send us a screenshot of the review to support@thelandgeek.com. We're going to send you for free the $97 passive income launch kit. Kevin Bupp, are we good?
We're good, man. Thank
Scott
you guys.
Todd, are we good?
We are good, Mark.
You want to just skip it? Because you're going to see Kevin?
We're skipping.
All right.
We don't want to freak Kevin out.
All right.
What freak me out? What's happening? What are you guys about to do? What's about to happen?
2, 3. Let freedom ring.
Oh, boy.
See?
Yeah.
That one was pretty good, though, Mark.
No, that was pretty good. Kevin, sometimes it gets super awkward.
It's actually awkward right now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's our 4th podcast. You just made it awkward.
That's
I think
awesome.
there's already one out there like that. All right. Well, thanks,
Good
guys.
deal, guys. Yeah, thank you, guys. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Take care,
All right.
Kevin.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.